What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Founder Academy. So this is part 2 of our FUT Champs Weekend League Serie Team of the Season run here. What you guys are seeing is actually the second game that I forgot to record. So I did one in the last video that I forgot to hit record, and this is the second one. It's unfortunate because both games are actually quite good. So it is what it is. I apologize. And there's actually one of the games in here where I forgot to hit record on the first part of it. I was just in such a grind mode with the weekend league that I wasn't paying attention, I guess, and I was just going right into games, and sometimes I hit stop and then I forgot to hit go or hit record on the device. So unfortunately, that's just a learning experience on my end. I also apologize for the fashionable attire that I'm wearing. It's so hot here in Toronto. It's like 1,000,000 degrees. I went for a run today and I thought I was going to get heat stroke, so you'll have to excuse me for not being a little bit more presentable. I didn't wear my suit today, but that is what it is. So this game, this was one of the last games I played on Saturday. So I think there's 2 or 3 games we played on Saturday that are starting off this video, just because I tried to cut the amount of games kind of in half so they would be represented equally. But I played quite a few on Saturday. I went to 10 wins. That was kind of my goal for the day of Friday and Saturday. I think Friday I had 2 or 3 or something like that, and then on Saturday I got up to 10. So I was really rolling on the later parts of it. I think I even started off at about 3-3 or 4 or 5-3, something like that, and then I ended up just going on this winning streak, and I finished off Saturday at 10-3, which was really exciting. So this game was a really tough game. I was actually up 1-0, and then he barreled through with his Luis Suarez and ended up scoring. He just fake shot it and somehow got in behind my defense, which was really bizarre. I don't know why they were sitting so high, but we ended up going to a shootout with this guy, and unfortunately he ends up burying it with Fred and wins on penalties. So I think we went to penalties 3 times or 4 times in this weekend, and that was the only penalty loss that I took. Penalties are just so, man, they're exhausting. It's so hard to go to pens and then lose. It's just so defeating. So I don't know how people do it on a regular basis. You really need to practice them, because if you're not good with your pens, man, it can just be totally deflating to lose on it. So we go into the second game here. This guy had a very odd team because he had that Goretzka up top on one chem, or not one chem, sorry, but he had 1 link into Eusebio, that mid Eusebio, and man, did this guy using his Eusebio. I'm very jealous because I haven't packed anybody from those mid icons. Not that I've done a whole lot of them. I think I did 1, to be honest with you, and I got who did I get? I got Filippo Inzaghi. No, I got Filippo Inzaghi in my prime. Actually, I didn't do any of the mid icon ones, but I'm just not a huge fan of them just because they're such a coin sink. And I've said this before, I don't like leaving anything to chance to EA, because they will really screw you if you leave them over to chance. Speaking of which, I'm going to release a little bonus episode later tonight as well, which is going to have my guaranteed team of the season pack pull. It's just a short little video, but I just want you guys to see who I got. So a little teaser there, so watch out for that. I'll try to stagnate the videos a little bit so they're not right on top of each other, but look for that probably either later tonight or first thing early tomorrow. So back into this game. So I was up 1-0 with this guy. My Luis Suarez was proving to be very valuable late in this FUT Champs run. He was really coming to his own. I was really starting to get comfortable with him. I ended up scoring, I believe, my first goal with him. And then Kai Havertz, who in the last episode I was just trashing, and I still trash. I'm not a huge fan of this card at all. But he ended up getting one of the most critical goals that he scored for me in this game. I think he scored one that was a game-tying goal, so that was the most important goal he scored for my club. But this one was also pretty well taken. But with him, it's just he's so stiff. You really have to get a very clear scoring opportunity. And even then, the shots that I was taking, they had no bend on them. They were just very straightforward, and I didn't like them at all. I just didn't like that card. But anyway, back into the gameplay. He ends up tying it up, making it 2-1, and then we just rattle forward with Lionel Messi right after the kickoff there. Can't remember if that was the kickoff or I know it was 45th minute cheese, but I think it was pretty quickly after he scored his second one. I had the opportunity to go through with Lionel Messi, excuse me, not Luis Suarez, with Messi. And that's what I wanted him to do in the last video against David De Gea. Now, I don't know what caused that. I'm just going to blame it to DDA, like the dynamic difficulty. But I have a feeling that, you know, when he's playing to his potential, like that Messi card is better than any card you're ever going to use. Like you just saw it there, like really quick turn, finesses it into the corner. That's all I really ever want him to do. You get the ball on his foot, man, he finesses and he just finds the back of the net. But, you know, like any other card in this game, when you're getting DD8 or handicapped or whatever you want to call it, like the cards will just fall through the floor. It doesn't matter who you have. You could have Team of the Year Ronaldo. I have Team of the Season Messi. He's almost a perfect card, and you know he'll still get stopped by fingertips and toe saves and really stupid things. But overall, the card's just been really good. So we're up 3-1. This guy was really starting to press me towards the end of this game. We're going to see a lot more chances here. This one started to make me panic a little bit. He just basically threw it forward with Lionel Messi and then just ran forward and smashed it with his right. You know, even though I've got Team of the Season, I still wouldn't have taken that. I still wouldn't have gone and just hit it on his right. But it's almost like the less you think about things, the more you just go off instinct, the better you are. Like, the more you overthink these types of shots, like for me, I would have tried to cut in and finesse it on his left foot and just try to like bend it around the keeper. And I know for a fact it would have just screwed me over. So I don't even bother with that type of stuff anymore. Like now I'm just going to run in and smash it. So you're going to try to, or you're probably going to see me start doing that a lot more. Just run in and just hammer shots. But anyway, you guys saw another opportunity missed by Ansu Fati. Hate that card. The card is just not good at all. Right in front of the net, all I needed him to do was slot it away, and he just missed it. Unfortunately, he's still in my squad to this day, just because from a chemistry standpoint, like I just need the links. Like I can't get away from the chemistry that I need him for. Like if I can get Antoine Griezmann, I definitely will get Antoine Griezmann, but I've been playing around with teams and I just don't know how I'm going to fit him into the team. Anyway, so we end up scoring another one just to give us a little bit of breathing room with Toni Kroos. Luis Suarez here. I tried to tramp it across. He was just out of gas by the end of it, and we end up coming up with a 4-2 win. So back on the win streak here. I think this gives us 9 wins, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see here in a sec. This guy was actually a really good player, but, you know, credit to my players. They just took every chance they got, so they weren't playing dumb. They weren't doing stupid things. Every kind of half chance I got, these guys were taking it. When Kai Havertz scores, you know the team's playing well. Like you can see, like the shot's not in the corner. It's not bending. It's just basically he was like right in front of the goal, and I ended up scoring. So 4-2, and that puts us in a position where we have 9 wins. So I think, again, like I said, one more game and we're at 10. So that would be the end of my Saturday, and I think this was it. So this was the game that I forgot to record the first half. Thankfully, you guys didn't miss much. I think when I was watching this back today, this guy was, he was taking some really weird chances. He wasn't like what I would call like a meta player that was like trying to finesse the ball in close. He was like taking a lot of like down the wing opportunities like this. Like I don't know anybody that like crosses far post to Riyad Mahrez. He was also taking kind of like long range shots. But funny enough, he wasn't like a bad player. It's just, yeah, you see there, it was just like he could have walked the ball in a lot closer and gave himself a better angle to score. But unfortunately, he didn't. Well, fortunately for me, but fortunate for him, he didn't take those opportunities. He was just like smashing the ball from really weird angles and just hitting long distance blistering shots. So kind of back and forth with this guy. Another opportunity squandered there. That was Jerome Boateng. So I don't expect a lot from Jerome Boateng. I've also been playing around with the idea of kind of swapping out my defense. I love Alphonso Davies, but I just don't know what I'm going to do about like Boateng in there. Like I kind of want to go to a La Liga backline. I've been looking at that Rafa Varane card and I really want to use him, so I might have to scrounge up the coins somehow throughout my club and get him in the squad. But something to ponder, I guess, is we're going to see what happens with our rewards tomorrow. I'm going to shoot that live, and then you guys will see my reactions, and then whatever comes out of that team or out of those rewards, hoping it's something good that I can just use. That's all I care about. That would be very, very amazing if I could get Dybala. That would be a pipe dream. But even if I got like Theo Hernandez would be huge. I'd be able to kind of put him in. I could bring Trippier back, and then I could rework my center back line there and kind of rejig the team around. But again, we'll have to see what happens with the rewards and see if I can make do, because right now we've got like a 3-team hybrid, which I'm a little foreshadowing here to the future. But I don't want too many leagues in there. It just becomes a nightmare and a mess. And also without like icons, it becomes really messy. So we did end up winning our 10th game. A very late kind of cheesy, I don't want to call it cheesy goal, but it was, to be honest with you, it was kind of 90th minute cheese, I guess, if I'm being totally honest with you. Shot rang off the post, bounced back to Messi, and Messi just put it into the empty net. And then we came up against this guy. This guy was, I think, my first opponent on Sunday. Decent team. He had, I think, Conte off chem, and he had Edwin van der Sar, which you guys are going to see in this game, was causing me absolute nightmares. Edwin van der Sar is just like such a good keeper. Every time I've come up against him, he just stones me. Like, he's one of those keepers. I don't know if it's because he's so long, but he just seems to make like fingertip saves and toe saves and all of these dumb things that are just very infuriating to play against. There's very few keepers that actually like make huge saves. Like, I don't mind playing against Alisson, but he actually makes some pretty big stops when I play Alisson. But Van der Sar is one of those guys. Even David De Gea, like that special David De Gea card, is a bit of a nightmare. But Ter Stegen is another one that I'm happy with because I have Ter Stegen, but I don't like coming up against him. So we were up 1-0 against this guy. Another great finish from Luis Suarez. I just was squandering way too many chances. Like, there, should have just ball rolled, save with feet. I don't even know if that's a trait of Edwin van der Sar, but it's something that he was doing a lot of. But I wasted so many chances against this guy, and that's something you can't do in FUT Champs. I could get away with it in like the early parts of this game, or the early parts of my run, but when you start coming up against those later opponents, like you see 57% possession there, and I had like so many shots, like I got to get more clinical, guys. Like, I'm just wasting so many chances. Like, there's another one, Messi. That one I'm not too worried about. He was under a lot of pressure. But when I'm in close, I'm just, I'm even going back and forth with what I'm talking about in this video. I'm like, this is what's in my head in a lot of these games is sometimes I just walk in and smash shots, and I don't want to overthink it because I just want to go off instinct, and I don't want to get in too tight and kind of wiggle around and waste the opportunity because the keeper will come out and smother it. But I also like see so many pros like in tight ball roll, and it just rounds the keeper, and I'm not doing that enough, especially with Suarez. I got to get so used to that because he plays off the back line of the defenders so well, and he's going to get more opportunities like that, and I need to put them away because look, I let this guy back in the game 2-2 now. Both of his shots, I think, were the only 2 shots that I recall him even having. I'd have to look at the stats at the end of this, but I think he went 2 for 2, and both of them were they were decent opportunities. It's like I allowed him to get like good angles, but I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be even coming close to like letting that happen, because this guy was not even close to being in the game from like an opportunity standpoint. Like, he was just playing deep, and now I'm going into extra time, and I could potentially lose a game here to a guy that isn't a bad player, but 2 for 2, and I'm going 2 for 10, right? Like, that's just not acceptable. Poor decision making on my part there with Luis Suarez, and then he kind of comes through here, very annoyed. Like, this was what happens in extra time, right? Like, I could have just ended the game right there on just like some dumb BS, right? And that would have been my fault. I would have taken the L for that, not because of that dumb BS, but like, you have to factor that in. Like, EA is going to allow these guys, if you leave them hanging around and don't kill them off, like, they're going to get stupid chances, right? Like, it's just the way it is, right? Because even this guy, like, look at that. I end up scoring, but this poor guy, like, thought he was in the game, thought he had, even a penalty shootout, and an opportunity comes where I basically squandered it, but because it's so late in the game, the sliders for the defense and the keeper drop, the offensive sliders go up because they don't want to draw, and next thing you know, I'm through. I actually thought that he was going to tie it up. That was right off kickoff. He was like pressing, his team went like team press, and my players just fell through the floor. They were running away from each other, and it was opening up perfectly. I could just see this in my mind. turnover, 1-2 pass, and he was through on net. And you do not want that, right? In that last minute cheese, the defense is going to open up. They're going to part like the Red Sea, and next thing you know, this guy's going to get a clear-cut chance that he doesn't deserve. So I'm very thankful. I don't even know if that was a foul, but Sergio Ramos, I just got the angle on him and literally just held the ball. Like, I just had to hold the ball because I knew that if I made a pass anywhere in my final third, it would have given the ball away, and I would have totally lost my mind there because I would be going to penalty shootout. So thankfully, those are the types of games that I was grinding out in this weekend league. But, you have to do that in order to get results. Like, every game is so sweaty, you just have to grind them out. It's one of the things that I've noticed about myself. The way I play is so tiki-taka and, like, very much like, small little intricate passes that guys get into that mode too. And next thing you know, we're in, like, this chess match. So I'm not like crushing guys, but I'm grinding out wins, which is okay, but it takes just years off of my life. So we come up against this guy. This guy had a very interesting team. He had like some weird icons in there. I think he had like baby Laurent Blanc or something in the midfield. It was coming up against some really interesting teams. Teams that I don't expect, that I don't even really see in rivals. Like, I never see some of these cards. I love seeing that stuff. I like variety because I just don't want to see the same teams over and over, but there's some really odd selections. I'm really curious to see what people make, and I also don't understand why so many people are just like comfortable playing players off chem. Like, this guy had a bunch of guys that look like we're kind of on 7 chem. It might not have been this guy, but I don't ever like playing guys on 7 chem. I just think you're wasting stats. You're just leaving things on the table. So that was just a weird team and a weird opponent. He ended up quitting after my first goal. I guess he just didn't have time for it on Sundays. Like, I'm not going to waste any time. And then we come up against this guy. So this was the game that I was talking about last week, or last video, excuse me. This guy, I don't like insulting anybody. I don't think it's very becoming to sit there insulting anybody. But this guy was, for lack of a better term, the biggest idiot I've ever played. I just don't like. I will never message anybody. I'll never send them hate. I'll never ever rub a win in someone's face. I just don't do that. It's not me, and it's not because I'm like, this great guy or anything like that. I think it's tacky to do, and it's like, look, everybody's just playing. It's just a video game, and everybody's just playing this to have fun. There's no reason to be. Again, I don't like using the word toxic, but there's no reason to be that in this community. It's like there's enough of it already, and I get it. It's just a lot of like young guys that get very emotional about their FIFA, but I will never ever be that one. I'm not going to spoil what happens here from a result standpoint, but I'll get into it as it happens. I'll explain why I'm saying this guy's the biggest idiot I've ever played against. But what you guys are seeing here is, even though I despise him as a human being, I think this game was, it was a very close game. He's a decent FIFA player. He had a really good team. I think he had red Lewandowski too, which is like, you basically hit the lottery. I don't know anybody that packed red Lewandowski. It was the first time I ever saw that. But yeah, I mean, to get like team of the season Ronaldo, team of the season Messi, or team of the season Lewandowski, like those are kind of like the crown jewels of EA. They don't give them to almost anybody. You like have to finish like top 100 or elite, and even those guys, most of them didn't even get those cards. So this guy definitely is horseshoes. But as you guys see, very, very tough game. He was resulting to lobs. Like, he was lobbing the ball into corners, and he was just reliant on these types of things. And I'm not sitting here like demeaning that as a method, but I'm going to explain why, again, I'm bringing that up. He ends up scoring here with Robert Lewandowski. Kind of a cheese goal, shot, stop, save. None of my defenders reacted to it. I could just, those goals where it just hits the keeper, or something happens, it bounces off of your defender, and your defender like takes a lunge, or it just looks stupid, and when nobody reacts, the game's just saying like, okay, this guy's gonna score here in one way or another. He's gonna score. So he was up 1-0. Unlucky on his part, actually, in total fairness there. He probably should have done better with that Gervinho, but you guys can see here he's kind of resorting to a lot of lobs. Like, he was just lobbing the ball in the corners, and I don't want to say he was time wasting, but he sort of was. He was just every time he was under pressure, he would lob the ball in the corner and just do really, really like cheap tactics. But yeah, so that was very late in the game, and then the ball breaks to me. Got a little lucky there. The defenders kind of looked a little bit dumb, but you know, takes one to know one, I guess. Happened to me, happened to him. It was around the 80th minute there. His defender, he read it. He didn't even read it that badly, but I don't know if it was his SAR or something, overcommitted. I made one extra pass, gave Suarez the opportunity to score, and you know, that was very late in the game. And you know, I had one other chance here where he was kind of screwing around with it. He was trying to shield it. Messi bounces off the post. I was devastated because, believe me, this game was not an easy game by all means. As much as I dislike this guy, this was not an easy game at all. Like, he was a good FIFA player. I mean, you can tell by his reds that you're not getting that, you know, getting silver 3. Like, he played a lot of FUT Champs. You can just tell by the way he plays and like the cards that he has that this guy plays a lot of FIFA. But you know, I thought we deserved a result there, but like I also think that going into extra time was probably fitting of it. But we went into extra time, and that's when I just turned it up a gear. You know, I just went very, very aggressive. Those are like, that shot right there with Messi is not the type of shot that I would normally take, but I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going for it here. I'm not going to try to screw around with this guy and play this chess match. Like, I literally saw that run, a little lob, Messi one touch, and I'm like, this guy's 99 Messi. Like, I'm not really using him to his full potential, so let's try something audacious, and I just hammered it. And then that kind of opened the doors here. He stopped lobbing, we'll put it that way, and then late here, I don't know if this is the goal, but yeah, he was screwing around with it in the back. He was really flustered, took a shot, bounces down to Suarez, a little bit of cheese, and Suarez gets a second goal. You know, say whatever you want. You can say I deserve it, say I don't deserve it, but like, look, at the end of the day, this was a 50-50 game. It could have went either way. I was better in extra time. And, you know, I'm saying that as me, so take that for what it is, but I really believe that. I think you know, if I really showed this full extra time, this guy would, you know, I'm not talking about this guy, but like, you would see that like I really controlled the pace of the game. Like, I just kept ownership of the ball. But after I scored that third goal to make it 3-1, he paused the game and just started sending me like the most like dumb messages, like just this hate. Keep playing like a POS and, you know, whatever with your pay to win team and this and that. And like, look, I've never shied away from the fact that I put money on this game, but look, get more money, man. Like, buy yourself a team. Don't get mad at me. You know, I still beat you. You know, I still had to play. I still had to win the game. Like, you've got a super team too. So he just got all butthurt. But like, the stuff that he was sending was so awful and stupid that I actually ended up engaging with him. And it's not something I ever do. It's not something I'm proud of. But like, look, this guy just needed to be told what was up. Like, DJ.2 was his name. So you guys saw it there. He was just a total idiot. And I don't feel bad at all about it. If that makes me a bad person, I apologize, guys. I'm not going to apologize to him, but I'll apologize to anybody who's watching the video. It's not me. It's not really my personality, but he deserved it. You know, he deserved every bit of that. So I'm not going to feel bad about it. He's just a total moron. He deserved every bit of abuse that I sent back to him. He started it. I sent it back to him. I'm not going to engage in that very often, but, you know, it was one of those instances where, you know, you dish it out and he couldn't take it. And believe me, DJ past the 40, that was the sweetest victory I've ever had, man. That was so sweet. I loved every bit of it. Like, that's the one thing is, like, when you win, like, guys can be all butthurt. They can hate as much as they want, but they can't take that win away from you, man. They hate it. They get so mad. Like, he just hated it. He was so angry. But anyway, we go into this game. I ended up scoring really early with Luis Suarez, and then he basically scored. I don't know if it was kickoff. I can't remember. You'd have to check the time. But he just kind of came downfield. Very cheesy goal, but like, look, at the end of the day, that's Kevin De Bruyne in 99. That's what I would expect from that card. So I don't have an issue with that. I've said this before, that if a guy's got a 99 rated card, he should do special things. I prefer, even if it's against me, I prefer those cards perform because it gives you a reason to get those special cards. Like, it used to be that those really high rated cards would actually like handicap you really bad. And I'm talking about like way generations back, that if your team was really high rated, like they would just fall through the floor because there was Chemgate, right? So that's not me and people that want to say that I'm just like a denier of whatever. Like Chemgate was actually a thing, and I won't get into what Chemgate was. You guys can look it up. But a couple of years ago when special cards were coming out, like the higher they rated they were, like the more they were getting handicapped and they would perform bad. I expect a card to do that. So I had no problem with that guy scoring it. Again, it was cheesy, but like, look, he paid money for it, or he packed that card, or he earned it, and whatever. Like, he's got it, so he deserves to do special things with it. So we did end up tying it up with Lionel Messi. We ended up going into the game late. This was really back and forth. I think this was another game that ended up going into extra time. I think almost all of my games on Sunday ended up going into extra time. A lot of them were just like chess matches back and forth, like really grind them out type of games. Stuff that I wasn't winning earlier on in the year, but I was just really proud. This was, like that one was one of those ones where I don't know what the hell happened there. That happened to me a lot, and I don't want to sit here pissing and moaning about it, but if you watch a lot of the highlights, one of the things that I was noticing when I was cutting this is, again, not saying this is just me or I'm the only one that this happens to, but like I feel like a lot of my opponents are getting like one or two chances. There's a few of them that were like, had quite a few chances, but their shots weren't like great shot selections like that. Like I don't really consider that a great shot selection. But like some of the misses that I was having go against me, like they were just in tight, you know what I mean? Like open goals, like guys defending it off the line, like auto blocks and auto clearances. And I'm thinking, why does that never happen for me? Why am I never getting that? I don't feel like, my Jerome Boateng and Sergio Ramos, I don't feel like they auto block anything. Again, that might just be me, being a bit of a hater here, but like, I just don't see myself. I don't see my guys clearing shots that like beat the keeper. Like, where was my auto block there? The guy just passed it inside. He was doing the same thing over. It's just over and over. It's just I couldn't stop it that one time. This was an opportunity I wish I had back. I tried playing it back. I should have just taken it and finessed it with Messi or just smashed it near post. But once he scored that goal, he was just doing this. He was just taking the ball into the corner. It was very enraging. He would cut back. I would read him into the corner, and then he'd cut back and run it around wide, and then he'd switch the play and run it into the corner. He was just, I guess you could say he was seeing out the game, but he was really just being an idiot, right? So, but I've been an idiot too. I've done the same thing. I don't do it in that fashion. I'm a little bit more kind of keep the ball and be a little bit more just possession based. I don't know. Maybe I'm justifying it to myself, but I think just running the ball into the corner is a little cheesy. I'm not saying I've never done it, but again, maybe that's just sour grapes here because I ended up losing. So we are on 13 wins here, and I think this is where like my mind went numb because like I ended up losing it. I can't remember if we like win or lost 2 in a row, but what I do remember is getting to 13 and my team taking a loss, and it must have been that one, I guess. But I don't remember if we got another one. You guys will find out here. It's embarrassing because I'm the one that like lived through this. I should know, but I just don't remember off the top of my head like what exactly happened. But I do recall the team playing really poorly, and I do remember having to take them offline. Because like I said, guys, when you start taking losses, it can be a very slippery slope because I've said this a million times. Big believer that morale's in the game and your team falls to the floor. So if you start losing and losing and losing, I did not want to sit at 13 and take about 4 losses in a row. A lot of people will say, oh, it's just because you're coming up against better opponents. It's not. Your team starts playing worse. They start under-hitting passes, under-hitting shots. They run offside. They hit posts. They don't lock into defensive positions. And if you start like taking those losses after loss after loss, they start doing it more, and it starts getting worse and worse and worse. So I remember taking them offline, playing 2 games, just crushing the computer. If you don't believe in handicap, that's fine. Say that I just got off tilt. I don't know, whatever you want to say. But it's not about that. It's about getting the team in a playable state again and then taking them right back in. So I needed to do that because I did not want to go into, 17, 18, 19 games and then still be sitting on 13 and then go 20, 21, 22. And then like next thing you know, we're like taking loss after loss after loss, and the team is just falling through the floor. So that was my theory. I took them offline. Again, I can't remember if it was exactly this game. Let me just double check. I don't want to like ruin any results here, but I can't remember exactly what happened. I don't think it was this game. I think we ended up taking a loss to this guy. We are up 2-1. I'll remember when I actually start seeing the goals. I apologize, guys. I should actually remember like what happened there. That was just poor defense on my part. Another 99 De Bruyne. You know, whew. That card is so good. I wish I had that card, but then I also don't wish I had it, because if I got that card, I would then have to rework my team. So that's not something I would want. But yeah, so I think that was the end of the first half. We're tied 2-2 with this guy. I just can't remember exactly like what happened. Did we take 2 losses in a row? We must have, right? Because like I wouldn't have taken them offline after 1 loss. I think when I had 2, that rings a bell. That third goal there. Yeah, I remember what happened in this game now, guys. Sorry, I don't know what. I was just blending so many games together. Trying to remember like what happened in all of these games is kind of confusing, so I apologize. This is also my first time taking this many games back to back to back, so I apologize. They kind of bled together for me. He ended up scoring a third goal with what's his face, Haaland there, and that Haaland card, even though I'm not a fan of it, like if you get the ball on his left foot, which he did, he just smashed it near post, and then he actually was kind of running roughshod here. I had to go quite attacking. I think I was in a 4-2-4, and I tried to go all-out attack, and you guys can see that Jadon Sancho, nice drag back there, and he smashes it into the near post, or he smashes it across body against the keeper, and when he does, like I've said, when he does that lean over run, you know that he's got the momentum in his favor, the DDA's in his favor. So we did grind back one more goal here with Lionel Messi, but the fact that he underhit that shot, I think that was the game kind of giving me an opportunity to get back in this game. But again, this guy just saw out the game. Credit to him, he didn't really give me a whole lot of opportunities there. Good player, but yeah, my team had just like fallen through the floor at this point, and this is when I took them offline. I was like, I am not. This was probably like early afternoon on Sunday. I was like, I am not playing like 14 more games of this. I'm just going to get this over with. So I took them offline. I played a bunch of games. Not a bunch. I played like 2 games. Realistically, you should probably play more. I think 3 or 4. But like, who wants to play 3 or 4 games of offline? Like, it's just terrible. But we came up against this guy. He was playing a 4-2-4. I don't know if he changed formations. He must have, because I don't know anybody who would play a 4-2-4 right out of the gate for the entire game. He also, his formation wasn't really a 4-2-4 because he was not, he didn't feel as wide open. Normally when I play guys that are 4-2-4, they have so many players forward, so many players back, and there's just no room in the midfield. But you guys can see by like the amount of attack that he has there, or sorry, the amount of midfielders he has there, the team must have swapped. He just used it for chemistry purposes out of the gate, just like I do. But yeah, my team was still playing crappy. Even after taking them offline twice, they were still really, really lethargic and still really, really poor. Still getting DD8 or handicapped, or in my case, morale is what I call it. So you guys are just going to have to live with me. It's my series. I'm going to call it whatever I want. But morale is what I've said. So that goal right there, very safe. You know, I'm not smashing shots from far away, but even then he got caught up in the net. Like, they were just doing dumb stuff. Like, you can just feel your players do that stuff. Like, they were just falling apart, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that I took 2 L's in a row. So even after taking them offline, they were just not the same. They were still playing really, really poorly. I don't know what this guy's results were prior to this. I mean, maybe his team was doing that, which is why he wasn't able to take advantage of some of these opportunities. But I can only speak for myself. My team was just very, very heavy. They were just taking really heavy touches. They weren't making runs. They were under-hitting passes. That Luis Suarez goal, I had to do that drag back. And if he would have missed that, like, that would have been living proof, because he was, like, basically right at the penalty spot, perfect angle, finesse shot with, like, a 97 rated striker. Like, you can't get any more high-profile, like, opportunities than that. Like, that was about as clean an opportunity as you're going to get. And then we ended up scoring a second here with Saul. So Saul, I was actually surprised at Saul's shooting. I didn't expect him to be that good. when he ended up scoring this goal, I was just like, I thought this guy was a defensive midfielder. And then I looked and he had like, 87 shooting and a 4-star weak foot. And his like finishing was actually quite high. So I'm like, man, no wonder Saul was actually playing really well. And then after I scored that, he went team press and my team fell apart. You guys saw that last goal. I'm not going to sit here dissecting it, but basically, like, we're talking about blocks a lot. We're talking about like auto defending and whatnot. My team separated like the Red Sea, and then as soon as the guy cut forward, I think it was like Axel Witsel or something, they all were just a step behind. So when he took that shot, they all went like this, and they do those dumb slide tackles where like seeing eyes through all of the shots. And he basically was right central, and he just smashed a shot, and it just flew by Ter Stegen. So if you actually watch the replay of it, like the Ter Stegen hands were just like this. Like he just kind of let it go. Like it wasn't that sure-handed Ter Stegen that I'd seen the rest of the weekend. So you could just feel the team fall apart. When this guy went full court press with his team press, like my team just dropped through the floor. And even on that second goal, I think it was Griezmann scored that second goal. Like he passed it inside, and my Boateng went like this. He let him have the inside route. So I knew that I was fighting the DDA really hard here. I just had to really be safe with my passes and just grind it out. Again, not something that I want to have to do, but like you have to do it. Like you just have to do it, or else your team's going to lose. Like you're going to lose games. I don't know what this guy was thinking here. All he had to do was walk in and smash that. It would have been game over. Next thing you know, I'm taking my team offline again. And even here, he had a couple opportunities to probably take my defenders inside, wasted those chances, put himself on a bad angle, and then Kaká's doing a really, really dumb shot. I don't know how he missed that one, 120th minute. I got lucky there. Maybe this guy's getting the same thing. Maybe his team fell apart, but we go to penalty shootouts. This is for everything. I did not want to lose this penalty shootout, guys. This is the final game. All I need is the win here, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm done with this. 14 wins. That's all I need out of this. Even though I probably could have gotten a lot more. I finished 14-5. I had 11 games left. I probably could have got to 17 quite comfortably, but guys, honestly, I was just done. Like this was so much work, and I only played 19 games. 19 games, guys. I know that sounds whiny and bitchy, but like, man, I don't know how you guys do this, man. Every weekend with this thing, like it was just, I woke up with like anxiety on like Saturday and Sunday, even Friday. Like it just felt like you had a job that you had to go do, and that's just a really crappy feeling. You don't want to have to do that. I don't want to wake up and feel like I have to go to work. You know, I want to go and play FIFA and have fun playing FIFA, but every game was just such a battle, and you just like had to win at all costs. You have to play cheesy, you have to play really cheap, you have to do what you need to do. But we do end up getting the win here. Spoiler alert, you guys can tell by the timing on the video. So that is going to be the end of the video. You guys are going to see me get my 14th win here. We are going to open up the packs tomorrow, so you guys will see a live pack opening on my channel. I'm going to get the live reactions from it. So very, very excited about that. But yeah, we're going to have another video later tonight. And until tomorrow, guys, take care. Peace.